I got so fed
many
up.
People.
I got so fed up with every time we talked quarterback. It was, they're going to carry forward. And it's like, they're not. They're just damn not. People are like, but you're going to move on from Kenny Pickett? Yeah. He stinks. He's like, we've turned Kenny Pickett into this is the next Joe Montana here. He's just waiting for his opportunity.
It's really easy to let go of Kenny Pickett. Adam Schefter's got to be livid.
You hate to see it.
Adam Schefter did the Windhorst, fingers up in the air of now, why would I be saying that?
Yeah.
He did that motion 7 different times on national television about the idea that clearly he's talking to the right people that would tell him 4 quarterbacks are going to be in play and it's what they're going to do and they love these guys and it's all for naught because Andrew Berry continues to show you, Nick, time and time again, the game for him is telling lies to the media.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I don't think Adam Schefter gives a rip because in the end, he still gets that those premium, and I mean absolute primo reports like the Browns have just traded Kenny Pickett. So it's like him being blatantly wrong on this, and everybody and every fan being able to logic through this as media members like, but Andrew Berry said. He said it on Saturday, right? To me, I don't think Adam Schefter gives a rip, and I will just say I was right. We're going to do I Was Right Radio for 5 minutes.
I love I Was Right Radio.
Would you like to say you were right?
I don't know that I'm going to dip my toes in this water, but if we're doing it, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
I Was Right Radio is a lot of fun.
Yeah, you haven't said the words, though.
I was right.
There we go. Kenny Pickett, we hardly knew you. Maybe those tiny baby hands will be bigger in Las Vegas. I'm so relieved. And listen, I am anti-Kenny Pickett. You know why? It's not about the person. It's about the football player. The football player stinks.
Well, the aunt did bother me a lot.
Yeah, and I mean...
She didn't help his case.
And her name was Karen. How more on the nose can you get than Aunt Karen, who just kamikazes her way into every social media conversation about her stink-ass nephew? However, it's not about the person. No, it's about the thought of... It's about the reality that the second the Browns drafted another quarterback this year... It wasn't Dillon Gabriel, but the second you took Shedeur Sanders, Kenny became obsolete unless he could unseat Joe Flacco, and those dreams died the second his hamstring went boom, boom.
Yeah.
So I am relieved. All right, and I wish the kid. I really do. I don't root against him. I don't want him to fail. If he ends up being good at some point in his career, okay, I'll eat that crow when I need to. It ain't today, and so thank God.
Yeah,
Thank God we just didn't have to waste any time with Kenny Pickett this year.
So I'm happy about that, but we didn't get the full, complete win that we would have liked, if we're being honest about it. The full, complete win would have been he was healthy the entire time, and then they ended up having to trade him on a day like today because he didn't win out in the Joe Flacco battle. I'm thinking of people like Aditi and people that went really, really hard in the paint for the idea that Kenny Pickett can still play football because those people haven't been proven wrong necessarily. Those people still live with the idea that this injury is what cost him the job, and he would have had the job if not for the injury.
To me, I don't care. I don't care about the details in this case.
Okay.
Kenny Pickett should have always been the odd man out. He was the odd man out. And more importantly, it's really weird to watch social media react to this trade in real time because I want to say this sentence out loud. You traded DTR in a 5th-round pick to Philly for Kenny Pickett, and then 4 months later, you traded Kenny Pickett for a 5th-round pick. And the victory lap that people who really think Andrew Berry is just dynamo at trades are you got an upgrade of a 5th-round pick. That was the 4th to last pick in the 5th round.
Yeah.
This one could be the 4th to 1st pick. It's guys, it's a 5th-round pick.
I do love the instant grades. Ben Solak instantly graded it, and he was like, Browns get an A, Raiders get a D. And
How did the Browns get an A?
They get an A because they
laundered a 5th-round pick.
Here's the funny thing about
DTR.
They get an A based off the idea that Ben Solak believes the way that we believe that Kenny Pickett's not worth a 5th-round pick. They're he was perplexed at the idea that the Raiders would give up a 5th-round pick for someone that he called a less than half the amount of backups in the league would be much better than him.
Okay, well that's a little mean-spirited. I'm the guy that spent 4 years making fun of his tiny baby hands. All right, so no, you don't get credit. You don't get credit for salvaging a 5th-round pick for a player that I don't know is worth a 5th-round pick in the first place that was traded a week before the draft.
No, I think this definitely counts against Andrew Berry. I think the discussion needs to be, this is one we get to bring up a year from now, 2 years from now. When we're evaluating Andrew Berry in the long term, I think we get to talk about how he wasted a lot of reps and sent it on a guy in Kenny Pickett that it was never going to be the answer.
So all right, here I'm actually going to say this neither counts for nor against Andrew Berry.
Oh, no. It's a strike against.
But you're coming at it from the Shahive part of this, which I understand. If my biggest complaint about the whole damn thing is you wasted 4 practices worth of, at the beginning of camp, of reps that could have gone to Dillon or Shedeur, and then you read the last 5 practices of camp before the preseason
this week
finale?
they'd already named Joe Flacco the starter, and then they still let him go out there and do all sorts of practices and such.
I mean, that was selling a fight. I think you had to do that. If you had held him out of practice and he hadn't practiced...
It still counts against you, does it not? If you have to sell the fight, if you have to try to sell the fight of your mistake to try to cover it up, you're still then costing yourself practices and you're costing yourself reps and opportunities.
You didn't trade Kenny Pickett for a 6th-round pick, which would have been then it would have gone against you.
So you're counting this as a net neutral, is what you're saying.
Yep.
This is neutral.
Yep, this is buying...
We cannot bring it up in a positive. We can't bring it up in a negative. It's just something that existed in the time that we have thought about... Well,
it had no impact on the organization, and we're all better for it.
If you brought up... if we're trying to do the big picture of Andrew Berry, and at the end of the argument, you're like, and Kenny Pickett, how about that one? You'll probably look a little foolish. I can acknowledge that. But this is not a net positive or net neutral, in my opinion, for Andrew Berry.
This is buying WWE stock at $2 a share, watching it go up, watching it go down, watching it continue to go down, and somehow it lands right back at $2 a share, and you go and cash out because you realize you dodged a bullet.
I've done that with the early cash out options on some of the betting apps.
Yeah.
You know, they give you a little offers early. A reminder out there for kids at home: Vegas is cash out. They're not your friend. They're not trying to be nice. They want you to take the money.
Oh yeah,
don't take the money.
Yeah, but Stella, that's the most money I've made. Like the early cash out, because I remember taking, oh my God.
I know, it's a lot of people have stories like that, but it's not.
You take them as a heavy dog at halftime.
Vegas isn't your friend.
They get back within 10, and all of a sudden you're tripling your money, and you're like, that's as much as I need.
That's as much as you need, but the offer is not, they're not doing it to help you out, I promise you.
No, I don't care, but it still helps me out if I do that correctly 9 times out of 10.
And in this instance, Andrew Berry got helped out because the Raiders are desperate, and
by the way, that's another good point on why you don't get credit for this if you're Andrew Berry. And again, you don't get knocked for it, in my opinion. But the idea that the Raiders just really needed a backup quarterback because Aiden O'Connell got hurt, that drove probably Kenny Pickett's price back to being a 5th rounder.
Oh, big time.
Despite nothing changing in the meantime other than his health.
Here's how I'll give the Browns some credit. I do think they calculated for that idea right there, that some backup or somebody was going to get injured and they'd be able to have some of the value recouped. But if you'd have told me Kenny Pickett coming off this injury was a 5th round pick, I wouldn't believe you. And I don't know many people across the league outside of the Raiders even think that that's warranted.
I think if you were banking on the idea that everyone always needs a backup quarterback or that an injury might happen, I continue to say no marks for you. I think you got lucky. And that's good.
They definitely got lucky.
Because I think there's a chance that they could have, they're so value driven that they could have been stubborn and they could have tried to roster 4 quarterbacks like they did when, oh my gosh, was it Josh Dobbs who they kept after the first cut down and then traded him later in the week?
The Pasternaut, yeah.
Yeah. Like, that to me always annoyed the hell out of me. It's like you should have, that trade should have happened before the 53-man cut down because you just potentially lost a player you would have kept otherwise.
Should we call up Las Vegas radio and tell them all the regurgitated takes from 4 months for Kenny Pickett?
I'm available.
Oh, it was Matt Canada's fault. The tiny baby hands aren't really that big of a deal, right?
No, I am pulling the pin.
Where's 2 gloves?
I'm going to tell you right now, Las Vegas radio, I will come on your station and I will tell you what we think of Kenny Pickett, and you will not like it, but if you want the honest truth, I'm volunteering my time for every Vegas sports talk show that needs me.
Yeah.
Because I will not let these national nudniks, many of whom are friendly with me, I will not let them continue this narrative of anybody but Kenny Pickett failed in this scenario. Nope, he stinks. He was awfully bad. He was Zach Wilson bad, and I'm so glad that name's not going on the damn jersey. I think a fair, in terms of the overall quarterback process, meaning from the moment you actually acquired Kenny Pickett to the moment you traded him, including camp and preseason and mini camps and all this, I think a pretty good indication that the Browns handled this in a way that actually might end up working out is how I don't see a single Browns fan actually happy about this. They're pissed that Kenny got traded. They're pissed that Kenny got too many reps. They think Shedeur got sandbagged. They don't think Dillon's ready to be the backup. They might have some doubts about Joe Flacco as the quarterback. I think that's a mark of a good sign that you've really stuck the landing as an organization when everybody's like, I just don't know about what they're doing here.
Well, what's funny is that they're not too far off from what I wanted them to end up doing too, and even I find myself being like, all right, could they have done this better? Like initially, the entire time, I said Flacco into Sanders was my dream scenario. Now it looks like it's going to be Flacco into Dillon Gabriel. Do I love it? No. Don't really love it. And I think that kind of speaks to what you're getting at. That idea is that there's too many options, too many people wanted their options, and Flacco into Gabriel wasn't a lot of people's choices.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of split. I've said I wanted Flacco into Shador, and that somehow turned into a hot take because he was drafted a whole whopping round and a half after Dillon Gabriel. Because there's such a big jump there. But yeah, I mean, listen, I wanted it to go Flacco into a rookie. If we get into the minutia of it, which is treating Shador as an outsider in a three-man quarterback battle, really only bumping Dillon into a key position to steal this job, the backup job, because Kenny Pickett got hurt. I don't necessarily love the way we got here, but I can't necessarily complain about the outlet itself.
I think there's a lot of belief out there, and I think Jimmy has him speaking on this a few months ago, the idea that he wants to see both rookies play. I think if you like Shador, you don't have to worry about it. Shador will see the field at some point this year. And if you like Dillon Gabriel, he's going to be the second off the bench, and he'll get a chance as well. And if he grabs it and runs with it, then as a Browns fan, you just have to root for him to be able to do such a thing.
Yeah, and I think at the kernel of this, the idea of who gets the first bite of the apple assuming that Joe has to relinquish the job at some point, I think there are some people like, well, of course Dillon earned this. I'm like, well, he didn't earn it outside of being better in the final preseason game. He didn't necessarily earn it by being better than the Shador the rest of the time when actual results come into play. And I do think, I think how Dillon looks whenever he gets that first bite of the apple, I think there is immense pressure, and should be, on him looking like he belongs when they actually turn the page to that, especially now that you've traded Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, I wonder about it because if by the time they go to him, won't the reality be that the Browns season is already shot?
I don't know.
Because if Flacco keeps it afloat, then he probably won't lose the job.
I do think if he's turning the ball over a bunch and they're winning in spite of Joe, which the Browns have won in spite of quarterbacks before under Kevin Stefanski, would it surprise me if there was we've got some momentum right now, but Joe's not playing the best? I think if you're the Browns, that's the sweet spot.
That sounds like a dream scenario almost in many ways.
For Kevin Stefanski specifically.
It's like the defense is number one defense in the NFL. They're creating a bunch of turnovers. They look awesome, and you just need a quarterback that is better than what Joe can offer.
And listen, I don't know that Joe's going to get the opportunity to show the full Joe Flacco experience. Meaning, I'm not talking about number of weeks. I mean, Kevin might go into this and be like, we are not going to throw more than 30 times a game.
So I think that's some of the problems you have when you sign up for Joe Flacco. It's not I don't think you get much of a choice in the Joe Flacco experience.
I bet you Kevin would beg to differ.
You opted into the Joe Flacco experience. He's going to throw the ball a ton. He's going to throw the ball deep a lot, and that's how this is going to go down.
I think that makes sense for where Joe was. Where the Browns were in 2023 when they pulled Joe off the street, because they needed to throw the ball 41 times a game on average with Joe, because everyone thought you can't throw the ball. So there was a huge opportunity in making plays consistently down the field. Whereas now, I think because the whole mission has been, hey, just don't turn the ball over. Could I see Kevin getting really precious with the amount of times they throw early in the season? Yes, and I think that could actually dysregulate Joe.
So
I think Joe's best when he can actually go out there and sling the ball around.
Yeah, I think he's all gas, no brakes. And so I feel like if anything, this would be the case that Stefanski would make. Hey, I wanted to reel it back in a little bit. I just needed somebody that would just hit the open receivers. We're not developing guys like Harold Fannin when Joe Flacco's throwing the ball 40 yards deep in the air and missing receivers. So I have to go to Dillon now because I know that he can try to do that.
I think the turnovers absolutely could be a part of this. I also think if you remove what makes Joe special and turn him into just another quarterback, which means you don't drop a lot of big plays for him to just go out there and wing it. If you do say we're going to focus on running the ball, which means we're not going to throw the ball as much, I think that is a way that you minimize Joe and create a situation where if he can't make up for the amount of interceptions he throws by big plays because he's only throwing the ball 30 times a game, that's a great way to kind of foster the environment to to have a situation where Joe goes away and Dillon Gabriel comes up.
I feel like you run into problems when you put special quarterbacks or even just quarterbacks that have been doing it for a long time in golden handcuffs. I thought Russell Wilson, this is what he's been telling everyone in New York at least, the idea that when he was with the Steelers, yes, they let him do the moon balls, but they just completely limited what makes Russ in his eyes. Now, I think we know enough about Russ at this point.
Do you see my smile there?
I think we know enough about Russ to know that it's a convenient excuse, but there is something to the idea that the Steelers' offense and how they do things does limit quarterbacks in certain ways. It'd be a fear that I would have with the Aaron Rodgers and Mike Tomlin relationship, but apparently that one is off to a better foot of the idea that, well, wait, we got Aaron Rodgers. We're not going to put any golden handcuffs, any shackles on him.
I think what makes this really fascinating is there is a fair amount of Browns fans who are, we're going to trust you on this. Hey, I got Joe Flacco starting week 1, and that's what I wanted. Hey, I don't have to watch Kenny Pickett start at any point this season for you.
We're 2 for 2 so far.
All right. Hey,
point the bad.
Dillon Gabriel's going to get the first bite of the apple because he's the backup, right? I knew we were going to lose you somewhere.
Just missed.
So but I think there's a fair amount of fans going, well, I wasn't in those practice rooms. I don't know what I saw. That's the kind of thing you say in the preseason. Where we're getting to, though, is that you can't spin your way, you can't distract your way, or whatever it is, your way away from the truth. Either these quarterbacks go out there and do it or they don't, and there's really no way of spinning your way out of that once Browns fans are seeing this on Sunday every single week.
Yeah, and it's okay that it seems like the order is pretty well solidified in what it is. And I'd say for Joe and I'd say for Dillon, they both have an opportunity to never let Shedeur see the field this year.
Are you happy with how the quarterback situation turned out? 216-474-0092. At Nick Wilson says, at Jay Peterlin on social media reactions on X, powered by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store. Paul Ross saying they got it wrong, or they got rid of the wrong quarterback. It should have been Shedeur. You just don't like Shedeur, Paul. It's okay. You just wanted to troll my co-host. That's fine. That's all right. If you think they should have gotten rid of Shedeur 4 months after drafting him, and you have a problem with getting rid of Kenny Pickett 4 weeks after acquiring him, I'm afraid you might not be hip to how the NFL actually works and what buys you time on rosters and what doesn't.